Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most dynamic and, let's be honest, most misunderstood tech ecosystems on the planet, China. And we're going to do it using a fantastic report from Goldman Sachs to uncover what is really going on with its AI revolution.
Right. So you see the headlines, you hear about the big companies, the big regulations, but what's the data actually telling us? What are these tech giants really fighting for? And where is this whole AI-powered future actually going? That's the question we're digging into today.
So, first things first, before we can even talk about the AI, you gotta understand the battlefield it's being deployed on. Because in China's internet space, this isn't just about cool new tech. No, it's a full-on, high-stakes war for who gets to dominate. I want you to picture China's internet as this huge arena. You've got giants like Tencent, Alibaba, and ByteDance, and they are all locked in this constant, fierce battle for just one thing: your time, your attention. Everything from e-commerce to social media is a total war zone. And the latest, most powerful weapon that everybody is rolling out, it's artificial intelligence. Okay, so what about the tech itself? How's it shaping up? There's this narrative out there that China is always just playing catch up in AI. But as we're about to see, the real story, the one the data tells, well, it's changing, and it's changing fast. For a long time, it's been true that the most powerful AI models, the big, large language models, have come out of US labs. They set the gold standard, right? But that lead, which for a while seemed almost impossible to close, is now being seriously, seriously challenged. Just take a look at this. It's a ranking of AI model intelligence. And yeah, OpenAI is still at the top of the heap, but look who's breathing right down their neck. Models from China's Alibaba and Zhipu are performing at an incredibly high level now. They're not just closing the gap, they're ranking right up there with the best in the world.
And here's the why behind it, straight from the analysts. They're pointing out that because we're seeing fewer of those massive, earth-shattering breakthroughs, the steady, rapid improvements from Chinese developers are making a huge difference. The race is getting tighter, literally month by month. And get this, in some areas, they're not just catching up, they're actually leading the pack. Check out this ranking for AI models that make video from text. According to this data, it's ByteDance's model, Cdance, that's sitting at #1 in the world, ahead of Google. And you've got Kuaishou's Kling right there in the top 4. So in these super creative, cutting-edge fields, Chinese companies are already setting the pace. Okay, having the best tech is one thing, but is it actually making any money? Is anyone paying for this stuff? It's time to follow the money and see if this AI boom is a real business. All right, so according to the report, consumer AI apps developed in China are now pulling in about $1.4 billion in annual recurring revenue. That's a real number. It proves this isn't all just hype. But just hold that thought for a second, because this next slide is going to put that number into some wild perspective. So that $1.4 billion, turns out that's only 5% of the total global market for these kinds of AI apps. So what does that tell us? It says that while China's AI is definitely starting to make money, its slice of the global pie is still pretty small, which just signals this absolutely massive opportunity for growth down the road. Now, this slide right here is probably the most surprising thing in this entire explainer. Of that $1.4 billion, where do you think the customers are? The answer is just staggering. A full 80% of that revenue, it comes from users outside of China. They're not just thinking globally, they're earning globally right from day one. So what exactly are these global users paying for? Well, the data shows that about half of all that money is coming from just 3 things: powerful AI video creation tools, super advanced picture editors, and slick object identification apps. The takeaway? It's all about creative and utility tools. Okay, so we've covered the tech and we followed the money. But what about the people? How is the average person actually using this stuff every day? Let's switch gears and look at user engagement and see how this AI revolution is actually playing out on people's phones. With all the buzz around AI, you'd probably assume that everyone in China is just rushing to download dedicated chatbot apps, kind of like we see in the West. But is that really what's happening? Nope. Actually, it's the opposite. The data from July shows that the time people spent on these standalone AI chatbot apps in China actually dropped by 6% from the month before. I mean, that's a really surprising find. So if they're not spending time in chatbots, where is all the AI action?
The real story, the big trend here, is all about integration. Instead of making you go to a separate app, these companies are weaving AI tools right into the super apps that people already use every single day. Think AI-powered search inside Douyin or AI-native features baked into Alibaba's Map app. AI is becoming a feature, not a destination. And this is where people's attention is actually going. Year over year, the biggest winners are these super practical everyday apps. Local services, up 18%. E-commerce, up 14%. Video, up 8%. This is the real battlefield where AI is now being used to win you over. All right, so let's put all the pieces together. What are the big things we need to take away from all this? Let's wrap it all up and look at what's next for China's internet and its whole AI scene. So let's just quickly recap the 4 crucial points here. First, we saw that the tech gap is closing and fast, with China even taking the lead in key spots like AI video. Second, we learned that AI is making real money, but, and this is the kicker, 80% of it is coming from outside China. Third, the future isn't really about standalone chatbots. It's about AI being baked right into the apps we already use. Which brings us to our final point. The ultimate fight is still for our time and attention in e-commerce, video, and local services. So we'll end on this thought. The data makes it pretty clear. China's AI is getting better and better, it's finding a global audience, and it's being integrated into these massive platforms. So the big question isn't if it can compete anymore. The question now is how this powerful, increasingly global, and often cheaper competitor is going to reshape the digital services and creative tools that all of us use, no matter where we are in the world. Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.